Caleb Maupin is an activist with the International Action Center and, as a journalist, is a frequent contributor to RT, Press TV, and the CPR News, among others. He's in Caracas for the election, and we spoke with him there via Skype Friday.
I am in Caracas.
All right. So tell us about, describe the scene there right now.
Well, yesterday was the closing of the campaign. There was a huge rally. Maduro gave a speech, urging people to go out and continue to support the revolution. The campaigning is officially over. The vote will take place on Sunday. And yesterday I saw an excellent presentation. We went to the National Center of the Elections, the CNE. And, we saw an amazing presentation. This is going to be a very, very democratic election. I would say that this election is going to be more transparent, more democratic in its procedures than any election we've ever had in the United States. You can go down to the things they do for transparency, with making sure that the fingerprints match, that no one votes for anybody else. You can go to the fact they have proportional representation so that parties are represented. This is going to be a very, very fair election. By any standard of it.
And, we've heard, of course, that Capriles has already declared, essentially, that the right won the election and that if the left is declared the winner, then, out in the streets.
Well, exactly. And that's the game the opposition has played for the last 15 years, is never accept the election results and cause unrest and foment chaos in response to them. But the reality is, the right wing is not guaranteed a victory on Sunday. The reason for that being that they're very divided. The Chavista movement is united. They are backing the same candidates on the ballot. Many different parties, the United Socialist Party, the PSUV, the Communist Party, the Fatherland for All Party, all these parties are backing the same candidates. They're offering a united voice for continuing the revolution. But the opposition is very divided. There are many different factions within the opposition, and they don't all agree. So just because things may be slightly leaning in their favor, that doesn't guarantee them an electoral victory. And we have to be very clear about that. And we also have to be clear that whatever happens, we know the right wing and the opposition, which is being funded by the United States, we know that they are going to try and foment chaos and unrest. That is what they generally do. They're going to try and cause trouble and really do everything they can to be disruptive. I've been seeing things in the U.S. media since I've come here that are just ridiculous. Ridiculous allegations are being made, and they're trying to do everything they can to just smear the election results and try to create an incident in the aftermath of the elections. But the people here have really benefited from the revolution. The impact the revolution has had on people's lives is just very amazing. But we were at the center, the election center, and we saw how these elections are going to be done, and I was blown away by how democratic it is. Could you imagine proportional representation, representing people voting for parties rather than for individuals, so that parties are assigned the number of seats they receive based on the percentage that they get? There's a number of parties on the ballot representing many different sections. There's an ecology party. There's all kinds of parties on the ballot. There's everything is being done to make sure the vote is completely transparent. This is going to be a fair election.
It's not just important to the people in Venezuela. Venezuela sits at the heart of the ALBA countries. The ALBA countries sit at the heart of the Regional Integration Project in Latin America and the Caribbean, and that in turn sits pretty close to the center of the growing multipolarity around the world. Do people there recognize how important this election really is?
Oh, it's extremely, extremely important, especially in light of what's happening in Brazil now with the impeachment proceedings against Dilma beginning, especially in light of the more right-wing moves in Argentina. This election is extremely important. What began here with Chavismo in 1999, with the beginning of the Bolivarian Revolution. This has impacted the entire continent, and it's impacted the entire world. People all over the world who are fighting for their independence and the fight against the rule of the world by big bankers and monopolists, they've been given a boost by what's happened here. And this election will have a global impact. And I think what's important to keep in mind is the people of this country are ready to defend their country. They're ready to defend their revolution. And if there is some kind of provocation in the aftermath of what will be a very democratic vote, I think the people who love this revolution and have gained greatly from it will defend their revolution. And I don't have any doubt about it. The people here, they love what has happened. People here have jobs. They have health care. I mean, we haven't seen any beggars the whole time we've been here, and we've been to some of the poorest areas. We've seen just recently, one thing that they're doing is they're building low-income housing. Using the oil money, they're building housing units, and by the end of the year, the goal is to have over 1 million low-income housing units built. And I've seen some of these low-income housing projects that have been built by the government. I mean, they're just beautiful, beautiful buildings that are being constructed. I mean, the priority of the Bolivarian government is the needs of the people. They're not putting the needs of the big bankers and corporations. They're putting the needs of the people first. And the impact is really, really tremendous. And it's not only been good for the low-income people; it's even been good for the big corporations to get society in order, to get the chaos of the market out of the way. I mean, great gains have gone on. It's been very good for Venezuela's economy to have the Bolivarian revolution, and I think the people of Venezuela will continue to defend that revolution, even if in the next few days we see some serious provocations.
And finally, because I know your time is short, you're both an activist and a journalist, and I'm wondering, what exactly are you doing while you're there?
Well, I intend to document what takes place here, because I can guarantee you that U.S. media is going to lie about what happens in the next few days. U.S. media never strays from their script about Chavez, the brutal dictator, Maduro, the brutal dictator. They never stray from this script, even though, every election has been won legitimately according to the Carter Center, the United Nations. They have a script, a narrative about a brutal dictatorship. It's just propaganda. It's a false narrative. I'm going to document what actually happens here in Venezuela. People are anticipating some kind of confrontation taking place in the street. We saw what happened last year, the La Salida campaign, where the far right was out in the street murdering people in response to Maduro's victory. And I intend to record what happens here and record the truth and let people know what's really going to happen in Venezuela, what's really happening, because people need to know what's going to happen. They will lie about this. They're already lying. I saw in the press, for example, they were saying that Maduro was saying that they would take to the streets and commit violence if the opposition won. Well, no, what he actually said was that the people of Venezuela will not allow a right-wing coup to happen and will march in the streets to defend their revolution. He didn't say they were going to engage in violence if the opposition won. I mean, just every little thing, every little distortion is being used. So I intend to document what's actually taking place.